a look at this question here. We're given information from a boat on the water. The angle of elevation to the top of a cliff is 31 degrees. From a point 300 meters closer to the cliff, the angle of elevation is 33 degrees. You want to find the height of the cliff. So I'm going to draw just a rough picture. If this is my water, I will use then this as my cliff over here. Just put that in. And my boat is just some vessel out over here. Okay, so it says here that the angle of elevation to the top of the cliff is 31 degrees. So the boat being down here, if it were to look to the top, and I'll do a broken line, something like this. And again, it's relative to like the meeting point with the water. That would be 31 degrees. Okay. Now the boat moves closer, so you can think of this as coming closer, and it comes over here. How far exactly? Well, it says that it's 300 meters closer. So from here to here, we have 300 meters. And now the angle of elevation is 33 degrees. You can think of it as tilting your neck up higher. You know, the closer you get to something very tall, you have to look higher up to see the top. Okay, let me take the boat out of the picture and just focus on the diagram we have here. And I'll fill this in so that you can see what we're dealing with are two triangles. One over here, one over here, and technically there's this one here, but you know, that's not a right angle triangle. We can deal with it differently until we learn, when we learn the sine and cosine law, but for now we'll just stick with what we have. So we want to find the height of this cliff. Let's call it x. What can we do? Well, I'm going to set up an equation that relates this and then the big triangle to x. But here's the thing. I'm actually going to set up two equations, but I'm going to need another variable. Okay, for the first one, I'm going to put a variable here. I'm going to put a y. And I'm going to relate the x, the y, and the 33. And if you can't tell already, because I'm using the opposite and adjacent, my first equation is going to have tangent of 33 degrees equals x over y. The second equation, which is looking at this larger right angle triangle, is similar. I'm going to have tan of 31 degrees because that's my reference angle. And I'm going to have the same opposite side, but my adjacent side is going to be 300 plus y. Okay, it's this whole thing here. If this little piece is y and this is 300, then the whole thing is 300 plus y. Okay, two equations, two unknowns. Remember in grade 10, when we want to solve a system of two equations with two unknowns, we can use elimination or substitution. I'm going to use substitution here. But before I do that, I have to get some kind of equality. So here's what I'm going to do with this first equation. I'm going to rewrite it in terms of x. I'm going to bring the y up here and then interchange the order. So x is going to be equal to y times tan of 33 degrees. And in the bottom, x is going to be equal to 300 plus y, the whole thing, times tan of 31 degrees. Okay, now we have two equations, both equal to x. Well, guess what? If this is equal to x, actually I'll leave it there, copy it, and paste it. And this guy too, oops, let me try again. And this guy too is equal to x. I'll do that in here. Well, guess what? This middle guy x, I don't need it because they're equal to each other. And now we have one equation with only one variable in it, which is what we want. Because at this point, we can start solving. So let me multiply the tan 31 into the brackets. So I'm going to get 300 tan 31 degrees plus y tan 31 degrees equals everything on this side here. And I'm trying to solve for y. So I'm going to bring all the y's over to my left-hand side. and everything that doesn't have y onto my right hand side. So this is going to come over here, and this guy will go over here. What happens? Well, y tan of 31 is now subtracted. Subtracted from that is y tan of 33, because again, this came over. And this guy just goes to the other side and becomes negative. So negative 300 tan of 31 degrees. Still don't have y by itself, but these two terms have y, and I can factor the y out. So I get tan of 31 minus tan of 33 degrees equals negative 300 tan 31 degrees. Okay, we're on the right path. At this point, it should be pretty clear that you want to isolate for the y, and you're going to do that by dividing both sides by this guy here. So I'm just going to paste it, put it over here, and also paste it a little bit smaller and put it over here. Because voila, this cancels with this. They're the same number, okay? You know, written in a very weird way, but it's the same number nonetheless. And now all you're left with is lovely y. However, what's on the right hand side is a little bit of a, it's going to require a few steps of calculation, which you should try to do on your own so that you get it the same number I'm going to get, hopefully. And what do we have here? We're going to have a y equals whatever that is. And let's get to that right now. So I'm going to bring over my calculator. And let's get this in view. Okay. First things first, let's do the numerator. Okay, so I'm going to put in brackets. So in brackets, 300 times 31 10. Okay, I'm going to close that bracket. So that's my numerator. By the way, it is going to be negative, so I should put a negative in there maybe. I'll put a negative 300. There we go. Okay, and we are going to divide this by, and I'll open a bracket, 31 tangent minus 33 tangent, and I'm going to close that bracket, and there's our number. So we get 3,713.1 meters. Again, if you want, you can do it one step at a time and try to get that number. But ultimately, that's what you're going to end up with if it's done properly. Okay, the height of our cliff. Actually, sorry, that's not the height of our cliff. I almost was done prematurely there. Because remember, y is the distance that's left over. But the good thing is that since we have a value for y, we can plug it in here and found our value for x. Let's do that. So I get x equals 3,713 times tan of 33 degrees. And I'm going to have to get the calculator up again. Oops, let's not make it too big. Bring it over here. I'm going to clear everything. So 3713, I think we had 0.1, okay, times 33 tangent equals 2,411. So 2,411 meters. If you want, you can do a 0.3, but you get the idea. Okay, there's the height of our cliff, and we're good to move on.